Today, we're going to build a big bank in the University District, both to help us fill out this town, but to also help us produce diamonds with the help of some custom create recipes. But yes, welcome back everybody. Obviously, last time we worked on our power station, and that's going to be useful for this episode too. So we are going to be making our bank here. Now, of course, I do want to automate diamonds in this bank, and I've added a couple of custom recipes to do that. And the main two are turning 4 charcoal into 1 coal using a press. That way we can use trees to actually help make our coal and diamonds. And then for the diamonds themselves, they need a block of coal and some lava pressed into a diamond. And of course, our block of coal is already a thing that's in Minecraft. You just got to put 9 bits of coal together. Yeah, I don't really have any use for these diamonds, to be quite honest. I just wanted to build a bank for this area, and I felt like I needed to give it a create reason to exist, so now it has one. Now, of course, I am going to need some materials. So headed back to the main town to grab some limestone, cut down some azalea trees for its leaves, as well as grab some spruce logs from my lumber yard. And then with all those resources gathered, I think I'm going to repeat what I did in front of this enchantment library in terms of this wall here, but just on the other side as well. Because I do want this bank a little bit elevated like our enchantment library, but I also want to place a little bit of a fancy tree in the middle of it. And there's our tree. You might be wondering why I'm putting a massive tree in the middle of a bank. It's a bit of a weird concept. But honestly, because our diamond farm actually does need trees, I feel like it makes some amount of sense at least. But anyway, now in terms of the exterior of this place, I do want to use a bunch of limestone, just as I have done for the rest of my builds over here. Well, most of them. I'm going to be using our limestone pillars again to make some nice columns at the front. And this is definitely going to be inspired more by the kind of Roman-esque kind of types of banks that you see sometimes. We are going to be using some of our copycat slices and stuff at the top here with our columns to help hold this thing all up together. And that's going to be our outer columns as such to hold up the roof, but our actual kernel walls are going to be around about here. We're of course going to have a window facing on to the inside with some of this ornate window pane and kind of repeat the same column design as the other side. And then as for on top here, we're going to add a little bit of a section where I'm going to place down some of these limestone tile walls, but break that up a little bit with some normal limestone and some stairs in front. And I think we're going to use some more stairs here for a little bit of a trim. I'm going to make sure to use these slices to just add a bit more of a trim on the tops and bottoms as well. Because obviously limestone is a relatively flat material, so sometimes you need to give it a little bit of an extra depth to make it look a bit better. Now I do want to start arcing our roof a little bit here, using a bunch of our limestone cut stairs and adding a bit of a gradual slope upwards. So we have a roof line that looks a little bit like that. And place this behind all of this until we have a design that more or less looks like this. I think the one small thing I want to add to this is actually some azalea leaves, because obviously we do have our big tree in the middle. And so it makes a little bit of sense to add a bit of foliage to this as well. I'm probably going to mirror this at some point with the help of our schematic cannon, but I'm going to continue our design across towards the center of the building here. But I think I do actually want to add a bit of a window here. Place that back a block, place some glowstone behind it, and then throw down our ornate window again. And as for the very center here, I do want a little bit of a preview into the tree that's actually inside of this bank. So we're going to make use of our limestone stairs and some half slabs, or just slabs. I don't know why I call them half slabs. They're not half of a slab, they're just slabs. But anyway, this will give us a nice little view into the inside of our bank where our big old tree is. And there we go. I'm liking how that's looking. Gives us a little preview into the inside. And I made sure to add a few more trims with our vertical slices and stuff as well. Now, I do want this bank to be at least a little bit wider than it currently is, so we're going to add a little bit of an extension, but not as tall as the rest of the building. Still going to have all of our columns as such. But for these middle parts, I actually want to use some of this small limestone bricks. Something I don't think I've actually used in this area yet, along with our limestone stairs and a kind of alternating pattern of stairs going up. So we have something like that, and then we can just continue that along the side here. And on top of this, we are probably going to throw down some of our acorn metal fences, as that's going to be a bit more of a flat part of our roof. And then I think we'll continue the design around the sides as well, actually. But I think for now that I've actually kind of gotten an idea of how I actually want this building to look on the outside, I'm going to go and do the rest in a little bit of a time lapse. And there we go, there is our exterior mostly finished. I did end up mirroring it from one side to the other, just to save me some time. I've also gone ahead and added some seats around these cash registers from Additional Logistics, as I feel like that kind of made sense for a bank. And I did also end up moving the tree slightly back a bit from where it was before. I think it was like around about here previously, and I didn't feel quite in the middle of the room enough, so I moved it back. Now, of course, I do actually need to make this, a working factory. So back here, I've already cleared some land and flattened it out a little bit, ready for a tree farm. Because obviously we need to turn those trees into charcoal, and I'm probably actually going to convert this little cubby hole here into an elevator of sorts, because I think I'm going to do the rest of the factory underneath. Also, okay, villager, didn't need to push me out the way, but whatever. But yes, that's the plan, but let's get started with this tree farm. And we are going to be making use of our limestone again, and I think I'm going to make a bit of a circle of sorts, and also use some of our pillars to kind of just decorate the surroundings of this. I think we're going to keep these corner ones the biggest, making sure to throw in some of our stairs for support and some smaller arches on the sides with some stairs and copycat blocks underneath. And this is the kind of similar design as I did in my enchantment library video, or the one after it. You can kind of see with this design up here. And I'm just going to continue this all the way around. There we go, there's all our arches in. Now we obviously need to come to the center here. I'm just going to dig a little bit of this out so we can place down a water wheel and get that turning, but we aren't going to set this up quite yet, because I actually want to place where our tree saplings are going to go. And I'm going to keep this slightly elevated so it's a little bit easier to use deployers on, and we don't have to deal with it placing in the wrong spots. And I'm just throwing down some slabs next to them as well, just because I think that looks a little bit nicer than just a random block sticking out. There's our different mounds, add some on the corners as well, and I've deliberately left this one empty because this is where we're going to be grabbing all the stuff from the contraption. And speaking of said contraption, let's get this going. I'm going to have our typical mechanical bearing with a barrel on top, some stripped spruce logs, and bring out a bunch of these trapdoors actually. And I want to make use of some more of our vertical stairs, and then have our 3 saws on the end. So we have something a little like that. Now we do need some deployers on top of this. We just need to have them face straight down, like so. And just so this isn't too floaty, I'm going to throw down some andesite girders to hold it up. And at the very end, add a portable storage interface. And that's pretty much it for the design. I think all I need to do is add our oak saplings to our deployers. And we can even throw these into our barrel ready for when we turn it on. And of course, making sure to glue it all together, ready for use. And now if we actually do turn this on and let it spin, as you can see, it is placing our saplings only on top of the grass blocks that we want it. And then obviously whenever these trees grow, it will cut them and put them into the barrel at the bottom. Now obviously we need to get them out. So I'm actually going to stop this a second once it comes back around. There we go. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap, add ourselves in another portable storage interface, grab a smart chute and a barrel underneath that too. So anything that's in the contraption should be placed into this barrel. And honestly, just so this doesn't stick out too much, I think I'm also going to add some pillars that are similar to the other side as well. And with that now hooked up, we can obviously turn this back on. And now that will be grabbing any kind of trees that grow here. It's not going to be the quickest farm on Earth, but honestly, I don't need it to be that quick. I don't need that many diamonds. Now, before I continue, I think I'm going to add some bone meal and some azalea leaves around, just so this area still looks pretty green and not too bare. Although trying not to get killed by the saws at the same time. And with that looking all rather nice, and in fact we can actually watch this go to work with this tree. There it goes, perfect. But with that all working rather nicely, we can now start figuring out how we want to get the wood out of this tree farm underground. Probably I'm just going to add a bunch of chutes or something and enter it underneath. I'm going to have to come up with some form of design. I haven't quite thought that far yet. But for now, let's dig down into the ground here, because I do need this to be relatively deep to fit everything that I want. And so we do have some clearing to do. And there we go, there's a nice big hole. I haven't exactly figured out how big this place is going to be yet, so I just built somewhat of a large hole. But obviously, to start off with, we need to bring our wood down from our barrel and turn it into charcoal. So I think we're going to make ourselves a little bit of a furnace buried into the wall behind me here. Also, I just had a random tangent of thought and realized, hey, it's kind of dark down here. I've been using the wrong shader settings for this episode. Well, it's too late now, but at least I lined up this area down here so we can actually see a little bit better now when I'm building. But anyway, for our furnace, we're going to use some of our brass local metal, just the basic type as well, not even the colored variants. And we're going to have a little bit of a window to see onto the inside. Because I think what I'm going to have is fans on each side and some lava in front of them, which I won't place just yet. That way we can have any kind of wood coming in from our tree farm get cooked by the lava. So I'm going to place down some of this glass, I think. I'm going to place down a copycat slice on this bit so no lava falls into the belt. And then that way we can then place our lava into our corners here. Once we obviously get some power to our fans, that'll cook any of our charcoal that's sitting there. Although actually, I think I'm actually going to move these forward by 1 so that I can place our fans a little bit closer, like so. And we can obviously make sure that these are all nicely hooked up to our belt system, so it's all nicely powered. Now for the furnace design itself, I think I'm going to use some more of our limestone small bricks on the edges of it. And then make use of our slices just to kind of surround this. And that helps make it look at least a little bit less flat. Now, of course, I do actually want to test this. So we actually need to get power over here to our bank. And of course, we did make our power station in the last episode. I think it's time to make use of it. And we can just pull off from here, which goes up to our fancy piston. And I think I am just going to keep this underground, because I don't particularly like actually having the power lines above ground, because I always struggle to think of a pretty design for them. But let me go dig this hole all the way to our bank to get us the power that we need. Here we go. There is our power. We need to make sure our fans are going in the right direction. I want to say they are. It's kind of a little bit hard to tell. But our belt certainly isn't going in the right direction. Fix that real quick. There we go. And as for this power line, I did have to go through a couple of small caves and stuff, because I didn't realize how much water-filled caves were around here. And I probably should have used some chain conveyors as well. That would have made this a lot easier. But for some reason at the time, I kind of forgot that they existed. Classic me. But with that in and seemingly working, we can move on to the next part, which is taking our charcoal and turning it into actual coal, which is one of our recipes, which is just compacting 4 of them into 1 coal. And that's also going to be pretty simple. And so we do need to build a belt coming out from our furnace underneath here, but I am going to also need to place a smart chute down below it with obviously our new belt line, and then bring that out of the ground like so. And obviously I do actually need to get some charcoal to place into our filter here. I'm just going to throw this oak log in, which will obviously be our test subject for if this is working properly. Although of course I forgot that I actually need to remove this first, so it doesn't just go straight down. Let's try that again. That is now seemingly cooking, and it looks like we do have some charcoal there. So put our smart chute back down, grab it from underneath, and then try and place this in. There we go. So now only charcoal will be moving through there. And once that comes out of the system, we need it to go into another basin here with a mechanical press. We are obviously going to need a funnel coming into that to actually make our coal, which I can place onto our filter here. And powering this should be pretty easy. All I have to do is put up some encased chain drives up the side from the belt. Now, of course, this looks kind of boring, so I want to put a little bit of a shell around it. So I'm thinking of using some brass tunnels along with our vertical stairs. Do that all the way around. I think for the actual outside bits here, I do want to implement some more lava. I'm going to reuse the same glass that we used over there and just throw some lava in. Can do that on both sides. Now, obviously, the only downside of this encased chain drive is that it is probably going to stick out a little bit. Although I think actually maybe with some careful placing, maybe it won't. And I think we could just finish this off with some placards on each side. And that looks vaguely more interesting. Now, immediately after this, we do need some crafters. And luckily, this is actually going to be pretty simple in terms of how it works. We just need to do our 3x3 and go around the back and make sure that these are all connected as they should be. Have our brass funnel go straight into there, and because it's only ever going to be coal coming out of that, we don't have to worry about placement or anything. So once this is filled with 9, it will make a coal block. All you got to really do is make sure that it's powered by throwing in a cogwheel underneath, as well as a gearbox. Now, after that, I do actually want to play around with some pistons and stuff. And these aren't actually going to do anything. It's just more there for, you know, making this place look a bit more interesting. But essentially, I want 3 big pistons to be coming down from the ceiling and kind of pressing down on the belt as the coal block goes by, before going into probably another one of these where it's going to actually make our diamonds, which is, of course, our block of coal and some lava to make the diamond. But first, obviously, with these presses, I'm going to place down a couple of these grey /like metal ones, trim it around with some of our copycat blocks. And this is essentially just gonna go into the ceiling. And we're going to probably have to cut out a bit of a hole for this, just so I can hide it a little bit better than it currently is. And I think actually to make sure this all fits, I am going to place our ceiling probably actually where it currently is and move this just above the current ceiling, because I do want this to be hidden away a little. So we're going to need a relatively large contraption that kind of follows away from there, and we're going to have a simple setup of a sticky piston, making sure to face that upwards, and a couple of extension poles. And the idea is that I'm just going to glue this all together into one single piece. And if I bring my power over from here, we can hook this up to our sticky mechanical piston, but I had to go grab some brass casings for this. I need to make some sequence gear shifts, and I probably need about 3 of them. So we can attach it here, set our piston to move 2 meters, and then back in the opposite direction. Now, if I place a timer next to this with about 2 seconds on the clock, set this to place only when anchor destroyed, we now have our little piston kind of coming up and down to slam on anything that's there. Now, it's a little bit slow at the moment. I need to go grab a speed controller probably, but now I just need to more or less replicate this another 2 more times. I think we can keep them relatively close to each other. I don't think they'll interfere. It will be totally fine. And there we go. There's our 3 little piston things going up and down. I did add a bit of a speed controller here to speed this up, and I set up a proper system here with a pulse timer every 30 ticks, which goes straight into our first piston. The second piston then has a 10 tick wait, and then the third one has a 20 tick wait, and that makes them go one by one along. Now, I did realize I made a mistake, and probably why I should have dug this even deeper. I can show you that mistake by going outside right now, and as you can see, it's sticking out the ground a little, but that's okay. I think I'm just going to bring the actual limestone floor out a little bit further. I can literally just do it right now. In fact, I can very much just place it here instead. And there we go. Nice and hidden. It's like I never made a mistake to begin with. Now, of course, the last thing we need to do is actually turn these coal blocks into diamonds. And I did make this room a little bit smaller than I was hoping. So I think it's time to get our Minecraft contraption out, although I need to grab the right one. I won't lie, I never named any of these, so I don't know which one it is. It's not that one either. Okay, it's this one, and it's stuck in the wall. Okay, let's move this back, and then I'll clear out this area to give us some more room. Now, of course, the very last thing we need is another basin with another mechanical press. Our usual encased chain drives to make sure to power it all. And this system obviously does need some lava, and luckily for us, we also made infinite lava in the last episode too with our power station. So now I've got to pipe that over here too. Should have thought about that earlier when I was getting the power over here, but oh well. And after a very long journey, we now have lava in our basin here. And I did go ahead and follow our power line, adding some pumps every now and then. My config does allow for these pumps to pump a little bit further than typical, so that's why there's not that many pumps around, but it works as intended. Now, of course, we do need to add our brass belt funnel, and I'm going to have to get a diamond to place into our basin here, or our filter. But that's pretty much it, actually, for the diamond making. It's going to obviously require quite a few resources to go into it to make each diamond, but the actual process itself is relatively simple. Now, the very last thing I'm going to do is hook this up to a proper storage thing that we can access from the bank above, add a little elevator coming down here, and decorate this place. So I think I'm just going to quickly do that off cam and show you the end result. And there we go. That is the completed factory done. I obviously added all my limestone and stuff, added some crates around, a couple of diamond blocks, and some bites too, just to kind of show that this is a diamond factory. I also realized I've left a hole in the ceiling. Let's just fix that real quick. There we go. But this all works rather nicely, and if we go into our new elevator, which should take us back up to the main floor, we can come over to our cow here, see our diamonds, say we want the one of them, and it should come out of the packager here, all the way along the belt and up these chutes. I can then go to the barrel, grab our cardboard package, open it, and there's our diamond. Yeah, overall pretty happy how this came out. I think the only thing I would want to change is like add sounds to these, although I have no way of easily doing that at the moment. But anyway, thanks everyone for watching today. I really appreciate it. And I do have some news, and that news is this is the last episode of the series. Yes, that seems rather sudden. You know, I just made a diamond factory and now I'm just gonna randomly end it. Yeah, that's what's happening. Basically, I've been thinking about wanting to start a new series, honestly, for quite a while now. Pretty much ever since before I even started our university district over here. I opted to keep it going in like the half hope that maybe Create would get ported to 26.1 or something. But I think that was a bit too optimistic, and that's probably not going to happen for like another year. Or certainly not anytime soon. But I have been slowly making a mod pack over the past month or so, kind of figuring out exactly how I want my next series to look. Because yes, I'm not just ending the series and never continuing again. I am going to be starting a new Create series, Series 2. I don't have a name for it yet, if I actually ever will. It might just be called Series 2. But the general hope for that series is to kind of actually focus more on the original town. Obviously, I have my big old town over here where I have a bunch of factories, but that was, you know, mostly just factories. I think I would like to actually build out a bit of a proper town. Not necessarily with villagers, but like with like other NPCs and such. Although I'm also not talking about mine colonies, I'm just talking about my own kind of system. And we'll still have our main factories and stuff, although I might spread them out a little bit more to prevent the lag that I was experiencing earlier in the series. It's one of those things I'm going to kind of figure out as I go along. But I do need some time before I start that series, so there is unlikely to be an episode next week. I'll probably end up doing my movie kind of style videos of the episodes I still haven't done yet. I still need to do episodes 30 to 40 and then I guess 40 up to 48, I believe this one is. So perhaps I'll get those both done for the next week. And the week after that, a brand new series. So sorry if I've disappointed anyone with the announcement of this series ending. I just felt like it was kind of time to start anew, take all the things that I learned from this series and apply it to a new one. But anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for all the support over the past year with this series. It was obviously my first series ever on YouTube, so I very much appreciate all the support that I got during it, and hopefully you'll stick around for the next one. But yeah, see you in 2 weeks or so. Bye bye for now.